to a CSV. The first video I just showed you just how to write one row from some hard-coded strings. It's just an example of how to write just one row. This video I'm going to show you how to write to a GUI. It's a bit more involved, but it's a bit more useful in order to realise your projects. So here I've got this file here. What this is just a blank GUI, and it has 4 inputs, and we'll be able to use this to realise our project. So I'll just run this and you'll see what it looks like. And that's it. It's just a very, very simple GUI. It just asks the user what their favourite food is, what their favourite artist is, what the price of a halal snack pack is, and what the price of the mixtape is. When we hit submit, what I want to do is I want to put all that data into one row of a CSV file. Then we can have a whole series of these windows, and we can keep on adding to these files, and we can import things from the CSV file back into the CSV file, and we can keep on reading and writing to our heart's content. So let's have a look of what we need to do first. Now I'll just demonstrate that this, at the moment, it doesn't do anything. It's just sitting there, not producing any outputs at all. Okay, first thing I really need to do is I need to create a function that will get all these variables. It'll get the variables from the entry box, which is that has the food entry box, the artist entry box, the food entry box, which is just here, the artist entry box, the price entry box, and this price entry box. And I want to get all the variables from here, all the data, and I want to put it into, want to actually export it to a CSV file. It's a 2-step process. The first step I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new function. I'll put it up here. And that function, I've got it over here, so I'm going to save myself a bit of work. Okay, this function I'm going to call it get variables. Put it right there. Now, what you'll see is the variables are called food, artist, price 1 and price 2, and I'm getting those from the entry boxes from the GUI. So I've got ENT food get, ENT artist get, price get, and price 2 get. So now the first thing I'll need to do, as I always do this, I'm just going to say print working, and all I really want to see is if I call this function, whether I'm actually getting to that stage. It's just me, I just double check whether I'm actually naming this correctly. So now I want to put the function on this button here. So I'm going to write command equals, and then I'm going to run that. Okay, well here's the output here. See, I didn't make any errors this time. And when I hit the GUI, when I hit the button, it says working there. So I know that I'm right to go. I know that the function is labelled correctly and I'm calling it correctly. First thing I want to do is I want to put all of these items into a list called data. And what I'm going to do, like I did before, I'm going to put double square brackets this time. Now I'm going to go food, I'm going to go artist, because I'm just putting the variables into the list. I'm going to go price 1, I'm going to go price 2, double brackets to finish it off. And now instead of saying print working, I'm just going to print data, just to see whether those variables are working correctly, whether I'm getting the variables from the entry boxes from the GUI, and whether it's printing out to here. So let's run that and see what happens. Here we go here. So let's get a bit serious now. What is our favourite food? Well, I'm going to say kebab. I'm going to say pink. Price for halal snack pack, apparently it's $10. $10.50. And a mixtape, we're going to say $20 and submit. Okay, you can see that that's working correctly. I'm actually printing out that string. So it says kebab, pink, $10.50, list, and $20. That's great, it's fine. But it's still not printing to the CSV file. So what do I have to do here? What I'm going to have to do now is I'm going to have to create another function. Now I could just put all that code to do that here, but I like having functions that do one really clear task rather than just sort of getting a bit confusing. So I'm going to create another function here. I'm going to do a bit of cutting and pasting to save me typing. And I'm going to call this function it's going to be called write CSV, and you'll notice that I've got I'm going to be passing an argument. It's going to be calling passing data. So I'll put this down here. What I want to do when I call this function, I want to pass this list over. So it's going to take the list, and I'm going to carry that list over into this function here. So to check if that's working now, I'm going to just transfer this print data into here. What will happen now with the code is that when I hit the button, which is down here, the code will come up here, it'll start executing, it'll getting all the variables, it'll be putting those variables into a list. Then I'm calling this other function called write CSV, and I'm passing the list, which is called data, here, I'm passing it to here, then I'm going to print that. So hopefully now, if I run this again, it'll actually now print out the data again. Let's see if it works. Okay, just waiting for our GUI to appear. Alright, we'll do it again. Favourite food, it's kebab. Artist, it's pink. $10.75, it's gone up, and $20 at mixtape, and it's still working. So we're now here in the code, it's executing this part of the code. So now we know that we've got a couple of things working now. We've got the list stage, we've got all the variables, we've put the variables in a list, and then we've called another function where we're passing that list over to here, and we're printing that list out. Well, it's looking very good at the moment, so the next thing we need to do. Now we need to get the code, it's only 4 lines of code left now, to actually open the CSV file. Now we've got to watch our indentation here, it's a bit out. So we're going to open the CSV file. We're going to set it up as a writer this time. So we're writing. Make sure the indentation is right. Then I'm going to write rows. Again, make sure the indentation is right. We might have some problems here. That looks fine. I think that one's a bit out. Alright, and then the last thing we want to do, it's always very good to do this, make sure you close that file again. And we'll just cross our fingers that this works. What should happen now is that it should open the file, it should set it up as a writer, it then should print data, so remember that our data is the list. We've got it here, we know it's in this part of the code, and then we're going to close that. So let's run this again. Okay, so now when I run the code, I'll put in some different data just to be a bit different. I'll say my favourite food this time is sushi. Favourite artist, I'm going to say Bark. I'm going to say the price of a halal snack pack, well in Reservoir, I'm pretty sure it's going for $15 now, and the mixtape is $10. So if we go to submit now, we know that it's printing out here, so that's working. The key thing is, did it write to the CSV file? So let's open up the file now. Open up a text edit. Taking its while. There you go, and it worked. So now we've actually written a new line, a new row. It says sushi, bark, 15 and 10. So that's the data we put in. Okay, let's just have a quick review. I created a GUI that had four different inputs. I then used a command that said get variables here from the button. The command then went up to here. I then got all the individual GUI data from the different entry boxes. I put all those in different variables. I put all the variables into a list. I then created a new function, which is here. It's called write data. I passed that list to here. I then printed the list just to check whether it's working. I then opened up a CSV file. I then set it up as a writer. I wrote a row, and then the row that I put was the data, which is food, artist, price and list. And then I closed it, and we're seeing that it was successful. That it actually outputted into the file. It wrote to the file exactly what I want. So mission accomplished. Now the tricky bit will be you incorporating this into your actual projects. But that's the principle. It will work. Just be a bit patient. Just be very clear of creating these functions, making sure the indentation is clear. The key to this will be you might have to create a function that gets called with inside another function. Okay, so that's the end of